Heat Nation, what's going on, everybody? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Wasn't planning on doing this. I didn't expect there to be Heat news today. But as we go into the weekend, crack open a beer. That tastes just right. Speaking of right, Miami Heat, they are going to sign Delon Wright. After he clears waivers and clears the path, he is going to join the Miami Heat following a buyout with the Washington Wizards. They're eligible to sign him because he makes under $12.4 million. His salary was at $8.2 and really fortifies, a defensive-minded guard in the backcourt that the Miami Heat were hungrily searching for, and especially you don't know what's going to go on with Jay Rich's shoulder. So to add somebody like Delon Wright is very, very useful for Miami. There's a tie of Heat family here as well. Of course, his brother Dorell, first-round pick of the Miami Heat, won a championship in 2006 as a baby. Had his best year before leaving the Miami Heat, before the Big Three got here. And Dorell Wright tweeted out, "Heat culture," right as the news hit. So very, very cool. The Miami Heat like to keep these things in family, in-house. And it was great to hear that news about Delon Wright, who's 31 years old, going to be 32 around playoff time, shooting about 37% from three. Does not shoot a lot. Only played about 14 minutes for the Wizards. The one thing that does stand out, though, is great about taking away the basketball. That is probably one of his superpowers. So you have a guy here, if you have one of these tougher matchups, Damian Lillard in the playoffs, something like that, somebody who could really wreak havoc and cause headaches a lot like, Gabe Vincent did in his years here with the Miami Heat. Delon brings an element to that. Terry Rozier is not exactly a defensive stalwart. Tyler Hero is getting better, but is not looked upon as anybody who's going to stop the other guy's best guard. So I think Delon Wright, that point of attack, defense, getting that fortified a little bit is huge for Miami. And look, they've done really great at this buyout thing last year with getting Kevin Love. Now this year, this is the place that they go. A lot of people were looking at who is the buyout place going to go. To me, this is perfect. I know some of the other names that were thrown out there: Danilo Gallinari, Thad Young. First of all, Danilo Gallinari, the dude can kick the sharpest of rocks in my eyes. Every year this guy seems like he is rumored to the Miami Heat, and he either takes more money or someplace he thinks he's going to win better. I never want to hear a Danilo Gallinari rumor. The only person who takes the crown from him as having more Heat rumors and never being on the Heat is Rudy Gay. And Danilo Gallinari, the thing I'm always going to know him for is his greatest contribution to the Heat, which was punching Dwayne Wade, making him bleed. Didn't punch him, but made Dwayne Wade bleed. And Dwayne Wade just going nuclear, and Eric Spoelstra saying, get the bleep out of Dwayne's way in one of the greatest press conferences I've ever seen from Eric Spoelstra. It was tremendous. I don't think he tries to curse as much anymore. He doesn't want to. That's why he always spells out the curse words for the kids. But I like this deal for Miami. This is fun. Seems like the perfect guy to fit in there. You needed a little bit more backcourt help with the injury situation. I'd imagine he's going to get a little bit of run too as soon as we hit the ground running. The Miami Heat's going to be off basically this entire All-Star break. They're not going to play again until the 23rd, which is next Friday. They'll probably have a practice on the 22nd next week. So that would mean that, Miami's going to have a chance to rest up, get everybody right, and Delon Wright will probably come in for one practice before he'll get into a little bit of game action. But just what the doctor ordered for Miami in terms of need. They have guys. I know people are talking about adding the size. I think Nikola Jovic is showing you don't need to add a Danilo Gallinari. He can bring a lot of that size and spacing that is needed for Miami. You love his playmaking. You love his motor and being in the shape in general. And the players really seem to. One of the things I love about Jovic is I just think the players seem to really rally around him and take a lot of pride and joy in his success. So I'm all for just letting the kid go and have a role for Miami as opposed to some old fuddy-duddy who's going to come in here and Spo ain't going to trust him anyway. Remember Nemanja Bjelica, who, actually I think won a ring with the Warriors, but Spo just was like, I'm rats off a ship on this Nemanja Bjelica. I'm not going down this track with him. And I think with this team, they're going to look at Jovic and give him more responsibility. It was actually interesting. There was a guy, what was this article that came out? This was from, Sean Devaney, I think, who wrote this about Nikola Jovic, where he had spoken to a Western Conference executive and apparently is like under the impression the word around the league, according to Sean, is that he's basically untouchable, Nikola Jovic. This is what he said. He says, it's not like teams put out a list and say, okay, here's who's untouchable and here's who's touchable. That's not how it works. But anyone who's asked about Jovic, it was a pretty firm no. They have not been looking to move him. He has been a near untouchable, at least. That was according to an Eastern Conference GM that Sean had spoke to. I assume not the Heats. And then a Western Conference executive said they could change their roster going forward, but what you have to understand is if they're going to change with him, moving up the rotation, not moving him out. Ask around anyone who's asked about Nikola Jovic and any kind of deals. There's never been any real talk involving him. I don't know when. I'm sure the kid would like to know when. His people want to know when, but eventually he's going to be a starter for them and a good one, which is obviously great news. And then it was also said that and so I think that's some pretty great stuff on Jovic and what he can bring to the table. So you have some size that you're adding with him. Didn't like the buyout options there. You definitely need to add some guard help, defensive help for if there's a matchup that is really terrorizing you in the playoffs. Delon is going to add that with his ability to take away the basketball. Can hit the three, does not shoot a lot of them, but shoots decent. And I think one of the things that he'll probably find in Miami is they want you to take those shots if they're there. So teams may give him those opportunities, and Miami is going to give you those opportunities. I remember Jay Crowder. His numbers weren't the greatest. DeLon's actually are better, even at the small clip that he shoots. But Jay Crowder was not shy. He got here and he was like immediately like, woof, bombs away. He was ready to roll. That's what the Heat like from their role guys. They don't, they don't want those looks being passed up and then being able to crunch off and feed off of other people to help on other guys. So very, very interested in this move. I do wonder if it says anything about the health of J. Rich, if this means J. Rich is not anywhere close to being back, or if they just thought this was the perfect move just because of the type of player he is, the family ties with Dorell, the familiarity, all that type of stuff. I wonder if that had more to do with it than if this having a reflection on Josh Richardson's health. So very, very cool news. By the way, before I close out here, Jaime Jaquez Jr. is coming up in the dunk contest. This was Jason Jackson on the call. This was the Bucks game, I think. This might have been the Bucks. Maybe it was the Wizards. I forget. But he had said that that there was gave a little tease as to what Jaime Jaquez Jr., what we could expect from Jaime in this contest.
Jaime turns 23 on Sunday, a day after the slam dunk contest. That's on Saturday night. He'll be in that. Rising Stars on Friday night in Indianapolis. I've heard whispers about a 360 windmill coming up in that arsenal.
Wow. And Jaime, the only thing that he said is that he has gone to the well with some nostalgia. The nostalgia is the word that he keeps using. Now, I think Leroy's spot on. Leroy says, you go Kylo Ren, you add some Star Wars to it. That's going to go viral. The kids will love it on TikTok. He did say, by the way, that if anybody was to play him in a movie, he'd go Adam Driver.
If you can have any actor play you in a movie, who would you pick?
Adam Driver.
Boom. So the kid knows, like, listen, the look is right there for him. But this is Jaime on what made him want to do the dunk contest.
I think it was a pretty easy process. They said, hey, you want to do the dunk contest? And I said, hell yeah. So it's that easy.
Did you dream of it as a kid, to participate in the contest?
Yeah, I think that's something that I thought of. I always loved dunking. I was obsessed with it. Whenever I was a kid, I would always dream about being able to dunk. And then now, here I am in the dunk contest. So I think that little kid would be pretty proud of himself.
Listen, we're all proud of you, Jaime. Jaime Jaquez has had a tremendous year so far. By the way, if you got, I think it's still up there. I don't know. Where's my phone? I don't know. I think it's still up there, but I did a Heat grading of the first half today for Bleacher Report. I think if you go to the Heat page on Bleacher Report, it should still be there. You guys can watch the full episode. I'm doing another one on Monday. If you guys want to join in the live chat, that's going to be on Monday at, I want to say 3 p.m. But I'm not doing the radio show on Monday. We're off for that. So if you guys want some Heat Tobes content on Bleacher Report, it'll be on the Bleacher Report app Monday, I think at 3 o'clock. I'm very sure about that. But this was interesting. So Jaime Jaquez Jr., I don't know if you guys saw this, but there were some claims made by Houston Texans quarterback, rookie sensation, his own rookie sensation, C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud, who, tremendous player, SoCal guy, apparently, I didn't even know that, went to Ohio State, and he was on Micah Parsons' podcast, and he had made claims that he fed a 40-piece to Jaime Jaquez Jr. Now, I watched the footage of this. I got to say, interesting thing about high school footage, even in the year of 2024, it is interesting. And I guess this would have been, 2020. I think the camera that I got in 2020 is a very good camera. I'm very amazed how cameras and footage of high school has not gotten better. It's all grainy. It's always grainy. High school footage always looks like high school footage. Like nobody has like the premier, especially if it's a big time matchup, right? It always goes in lower. It's always grainy. But anyway, he had claimed that he had given CJ Stroud had claimed that he had given Jaime Jaquez Jr. a 40-piece, which I didn't see Jaime guarding him a lot. But Jaime was asked about this today at his media session, and here's what he had to say on CJ Stroud's claims.
Well, I'll make it this way. I don't think he had 40, but I will give him. He definitely hit the game winner. That is true. He hit a crazy game winner half court. The crowd did rush the court, but I mean, I'm wishing him all the best from SoCal. I hope he does well.
There you go. So Jaime Jaquez, classy in the story, does not agree with the terms of he got 40, but does confirm that he did get the game winner. So how about that? Jaime Jaquez Jr. got some. I got a little scratch on him for the dunk out. He's the long shot. I finally found it. Shout out to my guy Keith on Twitter. I finally found where the hell to bet it on the Hard Rock. I was like, where the hell was the dunk contest? And I think I missed it because he was in the other books I've seen him at, he was at plus 800. He's only plus 600 in the Hard Rock app. I assume that's probably because in Florida's book that the odds are just swung a lot for the Heat guys because all the Heat fans are betting on him. So he got bet down to 6-1. But anyway, I got a little dough on Jaime. Let's just have some fun on a Saturday night, huh? Nothing too serious. And also got some UFC tomorrow that I'm excited about. I'm also going to, by the way, I think I'm going to do a recap tomorrow for all my fight fans out there. I'm bringing back fight recaps on the channel. I'm going to bring back a lot of fight interviews on the channel. I miss it. I love it. And I've gotten away from it. And I'm going to be getting back to a lot of that from now into the future because I've gotten away with it and I've gotten away from it and I don't like that I have. But Delon Wright, Miami Heat, Goosey's, not whaling, but you know what? Every once in a while, you don't always have to sharpen a harpoon. Every once in a while, it's just nice to go. You put on the old captain's hat, and I'm not whaling here. I'm not whaling because everybody's gonna, say, Tobin, you said you weren't whaling, but you don't have to be whaling every single time. Every once in a while, you put the whales away and you say, let's go for something, a more reasonable catch that's a little bit more delicious. And you cast the reel out there and you reel it in over there at Buyout Bay. And let me tell you something. Every once in a while, you're reeling a piece of fish that's a little delicious. So Buyout Bay it is for Delon Wright. Welcome aboard to the Miami Heat.